Every year, hundreds of thousands of people around the world receive a diagnosis that doctors still struggle to say out loud with hope. Pancreatic cancer. This disease has long been medicine's hardest wall to crack. For decades, the survival numbers barely moved. For decades, it has been the cancer that modern medicine could not crack. By the time most patients know they have it, it has already spread. Treatment options have been brutal and limited, and the survival numbers have barely moved. But in April 2026, something changed. A clinical trial announced results that researchers described as unprecedented. A single oral pill, taken once a day, nearly doubled how long patients with metastatic pancreatic cancer survived compared to standard chemotherapy. And it may be just the beginning. The data points to a future where pancreatic cancer is no longer a death sentence. Tonight, we examine what is happening in the race to defeat one of the deadliest cancers on Earth, and why, for the first time in a generation, there is genuine reason for hope. Pancreatic cancer is not the most common cancer, but it may be the most feared. Globally, there were an estimated 510,922 new cases and 467,409 deaths from pancreatic cancer in 2022 alone. This highlights the urgent global need for the breakthroughs we are seeing today. In the United States, an estimated 67,440 Americans were expected to be diagnosed with the disease in 2025. It is currently the third leading cause of cancer-related death in the United States, and projections suggest it could become the second by 2030. What makes pancreatic cancer so merciless is a combination of factors. It grows silently, deep inside the abdomen without early symptoms. The 5-year survival rate sits at just 13% overall. And for patients diagnosed with metastatic disease, that figure collapses to a staggering 3%. Unlike breast cancer, lung cancer, or colorectal cancer, pancreatic cancer has no standard screening strategy, meaning there is no routine test to catch it early, the way a mammogram might catch breast cancer in its infancy. Physicians must rely on complex diagnostics. For decades, the medical world has been stuck. Now the ground is shifting. The story begins with a gene mutation that was once considered impossible to target. RAS mutations, particularly in the KRAS gene, are found in over 90% of pancreatic cancer cases. These mutations effectively switch on signals for constant, uncontrolled cell growth. For 30 years, scientists called this mutation undruggable. No compound could lock onto it reliably enough to stop it. After decades of failure, something finally changed. RAS is now considered druggable, and 2025 and 2026 have seen tremendous progress. The drug at the center of it all is called darixinrasib, developed by Revolution Medicines, a California-based oncology company. In April 2026, the company announced positive top-line results from its global, randomized, controlled Phase 3 Resolute 302 clinical trial. Darixinrasib, taken orally once daily, demonstrated statistically significant and clinically meaningful improvements. The numbers are striking. They represent a significant shift in the treatment landscape for patients worldwide. In the overall study population, darixinrasib delivered a median overall survival of 13.2 months versus just 6.7 months for chemotherapy. That is nearly double the survival time. For patients who had already failed first-line treatment, real, tangible hope for families. The FDA has granted darixinrasib both Breakthrough Therapy Designation and Orphan Drug Designation. Revolution Medicines now intends to file a new drug application with the FDA. Additional data is expected soon, but darixinrasib is not the only new weapon emerging. Elraglusib, developed by Actuate Therapeutics, works through an entirely different mechanism, blocking a protein called GSK3V. In a Phase 2 international trial published in Nature Medicine, elraglusib combined with standard chemotherapy improved median overall survival by 2.9 months and decreased the risk of death by 38%. Then there is zenocutuzumab, approved by the FDA in December 2024, targeting patients with a specific genetic variant. While just 0.4% to 1.6% of pancreatic cancer patients carry this fusion, the drug showed measurable responses in clinical trials. And in research labs, a triple drug approach, including one targeting a protein called STI3, not only prevented tumors from coming back in mouse models, but showed no debilitating side effects. The question every oncologist is asking is simple: why now? Why, after 50 years of failure, are breakthroughs arriving all at once? The answer lies at the intersection of three forces: precision medicine, genetic sequencing, and artificial intelligence. Researchers can now sequence the exact genetic mutations driving a patient's tumor and match them to drugs engineered to block specific pathways. Using artificial intelligence and supercomputing power, scientists have been able to reveal drug targets that were previously invisible. Brian Wolpin, professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School and principal investigator for the RASolute 302 trial, put it plainly: for patients with metastatic pancreatic cancer, new treatment options are urgently needed to increase survival time and improve quality of life. The results of this study indicate that daraxonrasib provides a clear and highly meaningful step forward. The data shows a decisive upward trend. Here's what these breakthroughs mean in human terms. Projections suggest pancreatic cancer cases could nearly double globally by 2050, potentially reaching close to 1 million new diagnoses per year. The drugs emerging right now arrive precisely when the world needs them most. A pill that doubles survival time is not a cure, but for a patient who has been told there are no more options, it is everything. More time for moments like these. We are standing at the threshold of groundbreaking treatments for patients with pancreatic cancer, said PanCan Chief Scientific and Medical Officer Anna Birkenblit. Today's announcement represents a real opportunity to bring new hope. Hope for more time with family, hope for better quality of life, and hope that ongoing research may ultimately lead to a cure. Pancreatic cancer has long been medicine's hardest wall to break through. For decades, the survival statistics barely moved. Families watched loved ones diagnosed and gone within months. A heavy silence for many years. Researchers published paper after paper with results that offered incremental gains at best. Stacks of data without a clear path forward. But something has changed in the last 2 years. A gene once called undruggable has been targeted. The medical world is finally finding a way in. A clinical trial has nearly doubled survival. This is a clear and highly meaningful step forward. An oral pill is heading toward FDA review. A new tool in the fight against one of our deadliest enemies. And a generation of scientists armed with AI, genetic sequencing, and deeper biological understanding are attacking this disease from new angles. The war is not won. But for the first time in a very long time, it feels like the tide is turning. A new day is beginning. For patients, families, and clinicians seeking current trial information, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network at pancan.org provides free resources and clinical trial matching.